All right. What is going on, everybody? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. It is Sunday afternoon here. Hope everything is going well for you. We're going to be talking a little bit what's going on with the Reaver. Obviously, if you notice the thumbnail on this live stream, it is not the Reaver. It is another class entirely. Sorry for the late start. I went to go grab a coffee to get me a little pick me up. So yeah, before jumping into everything, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the sponsor of this stream. It is Skyzephyrs. They are completely backed and funded. They did it in 4 hours. Skyzephyrs is a third-party supplement that is aiming to add vehicle combat into your games that will work and pair nicely with combat in 5e. So it's not meant to bog it down. It's meant to be able to use at your table or VTT. And also they're adding in I believe a digital tool to help you actually run this alongside your playgroup at the table, so it makes it even a lot smoother, a lot easier to run. So definitely go check it out. There's a link in the description. It's already funded, so you back it, you get it. So yeah, most definitely congratulations to them for the backing. There is still about 18 days to go, so you still got a little bit into next month to get this. So yeah. So let's talk about let's talk about what's it called? What's going on with the Reaver? So obviously this is for the Puppeteer, another class entirely. It's like, Josh, why are you streaming another class when you didn't finish the last one? We're having some development issues with the Reaver. I think it got like as we were trying to develop subclasses for it, I realized what we're attempting to do with the fantasy of it and what features we had, they were just really clashing and for me weren't as evocative of what I was attempting to do with the class. We tried to do another go around, and maybe I was attempting to do some sort of Magus version of the class, and things just didn't make sense. So I needed to shove it. I just needed to put it on the back burner. I think what was happening is that it didn't have a really clean play style and a really core mechanic to make it work and feel unique and make it feel like it wasn't just an evil paladin or derivative of other like Magus like classes that are out there. So where the pretty much Project Dark Knight will come back, I'm just going to figure out a core mechanic that offers a really unique playstyle, but also fill in and help play that fantasy that I know is missing from the game. So that brings me to the Puppeteer, which originally kicked in my brain as we were developing, or I was trying to develop the Reaver, because Terran Indestructible showed me a class by the astrologer class by Nimademi, I believe. Let me see if I can pull it up and show you guys. Well, that's the main thing, where it was kind of like this cast, do a bunch of performance-esque type things, build up a bunch of points to eventually cast. And I thought that was such a cool and unique idea for a casting feature. I'm not sure if I didn't feel like the astrologer was like a good fit for it, but I was like, what if he had, pretty much I was like, what if your puppet did that, like a version of a bard where you're sitting there casting and doing songs, performances that build up enough magic so you can do like a big final act performance. And then another thing I was attempting to do is some sort of mobile AoE buffer or debuffer class. So what I mean by that is the druid subclass from not Tal'Dorei Reborn. I think it's Tal'Dorei Reborn. They have a druid subclass that can put down an AoE, and based off of like enemies being in the AoE, your subclass features pop up and you can relocate it. I'm like, that's such a cool idea for a class mechanic where you have different subclasses offering different options based off of that AoE. So this is what the Puppeteer is going to be attempting to do. So Puppeteer is going to use the thematics and themes of a puppet and a puppet master. It is like a soft pet class, but you don't necessarily have a pet. So the general idea is that you have this magical object that you can put out, pretty much your puppet, and then you need to do a set of performances that will either buff, attack, debuff, or help out your allies. And after you generate enough performance, pretty much amping up the crowd, you can do like a final act, or you cast a spell. So that is a general thing. It is a different way to cast magic, totally inspired by the astrologer from Nemadime. It's pretty much the spellcasting component for that class, redone and to fit in another chassis of a mobile creature. It's not centered on you, it's centered on pretty much your puppet object. Subclass wise, they're going to be inspired by different a mix of D&D isms, but also inspired by real world puppetry. So we're going to have but your main thing, it's like you're playing with a marionette. That's actually the main thing. It's going to be a marionette type puppet, but it's still going to take inspiration from real world puppetry. One of the subclasses I want to do is a shadow puppet. What's going on, Taryn? I want to do like a shadow puppet subclass. There's also water puppets from Southeast Asia that I want to do like some sort of like water-based subclass. So we're gonna have stuff like that. But yeah, that's the main thing. The main mechanic is you're gonna cast your puppet, which is an object, and then you're gonna do a bunch of spell dividing performances, and you build up enough points to cast your stage magic. So this is meant to be more of a supportive class. Obviously, the big concern is I'm really trying to make sure that you can always cast your puppet. That's always the big thing, because that is the core feature of the class, but also still make it interactable. Pretty much you can cast your puppet infinitely at this point, because it would kind of suck that you would have I think that's the biggest problem with a lot of pet subclasses in general, or pet-like classes, or pet, yeah, is that I know when I played with it's the Battlesmith Artificer, since all of it is based around having that Steel Defender. Whenever that Steel Defender died, you're pretty much shut out, because it doesn't really scale well at higher tiers of play. And then you're going to see that too with Beastmaster Ranger. Pretty much Beastmaster Ranger is shut off if your pet dies. So yeah, so we're going to make a supporting spellcasting class that has a mobile AoE buff, hopefully. We're going to play with this casting system and just see if it works. If it's too much and we'd rather have other features, then we'll go to like a half caster or full caster and just play with the other features, or maybe even pack magic. I was even considering that too for a bit. You do pack magic so that you have more weight on your puppet. Because I'm also going to take inspiration from Final Fantasy, the puppeteer job. I loved how when I was reading it, because it's been a while, that since actually I know it was playable in Final Fantasy 11, but I think it was in Tactics also. They had a puppeteer or machinist. They call them various different things. That pretty much your puppet, you can have functions, can fill in different roles. So you can have it as a tank, you can have it as a support, or you can have it as like a utility. So it'd be pretty neat to have that as like a base class function. The puppet has 1 HP. Yes, the puppet has 1 HP, but it is an object. So there is a lot of spells that can't even target it. And you can just recast it as a bonus action. You can just resummon it. But that's the starting puppet. Like I said, I want to have upgrades, and if you want to have your puppet as like a full-on construct pet, I'm still trying to figure out if I want that as a subclass thing or as a playstyle thing you can choose and swap maybe. Yeah, the Blighter Druid had a really interesting mobile AoE mechanic. I think the problem with a mobile AoE though is I think I know Drunken Yoda Daryl was having this issue with his commander class. And one of the critiques I know he got was that by having a mobile AoE, depending on how the effect is, you're going to have a turtling issue where all the party members are going to want to stand around that AoE, just depending how good it is. So yeah. So right now, let's kind of go over the core features. Right now, we have it as a D6 class. We'll probably switch to a D8. I'm going to be honest. I think I still had it as a... I think I still had it as a D6 because the pet was... Like, the puppet was going to be a full-on pet. Side Eye is a necro puppeteer enchanter who uses other creatures as puppets. Yeah, we're going to have that too. I have an idea for a subclass where you have your puppet stand next to an enemy. They have to make a save, and then your puppet ends up becoming the enemy, and you're controlling the enemy. I definitely want a subclass that does that. Like, at my table, nobody gets classes like Echo Knight because of 1 HP clones, too much area effects, and crowded fights. The thing is, with the Echo Knight, it's still stupid good. Like, if they're afraid of the 1 HP thing, like, they really shouldn't. You could just recast it. Like, last time I checked, there is no limit to how many times you can just do it as a bonus action. Let me pull it up. And then the utility and mobility that it offers is stupid. You just teleport everywhere. Let me pull Echo Knight Fighter. Yeah, there is no limit to how many times you can cast this Echo. And that's the thing. Like, they shouldn't be afraid of that, because as a bonus action, let me pull this up. We're gonna switch to. Yes. There is no limit to this. So yeah, like, if they're afraid of that, they really shouldn't be. Because you just cast this infinitely. Like, you cast it as a bonus action. All the actions on the Echo Knight fight, like the creature or your object or whatever it is, your Echo, it all goes around your action. So it's just like, yeah, okay, they do an AoE effect. Okay, it kills your Echo. Cool. Bonus action, cast it again. You attack with your Echo. Like, they shouldn't be afraid of that. Yeah, but the Echo Knight, in the case of the Echo Knight, we're going to talk about the Echo Knight. In the case of the Echo Knight, your fighter isn't going to have any other option for their bonus action. Unless you're doing dual wielding. But even then, you probably don't want to. Yeah, like, you don't really have any other option for your bonus action. So it's fine. Like, recasting it is totally fair. At least in the case of the Echo Knight. Puppeteer, I'm being mindful of that too. Like, having your bonus action free. But also, I do want to have it so that eventually, like, if you want to have your puppet be a tank, fill in a tank role, that is possible too. All right, give me a sec. I just need to run to the restroom really quick. Alrighty. Back. Okay, so yeah. Yeah, so we're still gonna be toying with the puppet. It's not set in stone with the HP, but I definitely are going to be kind of eyeing it. What feels good. One thing I was really attempting to do, but it didn't feel narratively right, was to try to make the puppet non-interactable at all. But it just didn't feel right because it's an object, right? Even if it's a magical object, it's still an object. It just didn't feel right that it was going to be non-interactable by an enemy, because it's there, not like a spirit weapon or any sort of ethereal object that you can't interact with it. So there was that. So yeah. But I also want it so that it is consistently a thing that's there. Normally, classes have a limit to what they can pretty much have a limit on their core class feature. But since this puppet is so integral to the thematics of a puppeteer, like, you kind of need it. So having it infinitely is pretty much where I'm going with it. So yeah, but we're still gonna toy with the 1 HP, the HP thing, because I don't think there's really any difference between 1 HP, 5 HP, or 10 HP at like really low levels. Yeah, there's definitely gonna be like stuff like that. Like we're literally level 1. We only got the first level features pretty much there. My goal is to at least get 5th level kind of figured out, all the way up to 5th level, have our at least 1 or 2 subclasses kind of, at least their first features kind of figured out, so we could kind of really, really test out the casting mechanic and how it plays in 5e. Because the main difference I'm seeing between this, which is stage magic, where you have to do these performances on your turn as a sort of like build 'em up feature, compared to something like the Luchador, which generated their own resources. The Luchador was able to do it much faster, because obviously you had an attack, grapple, shove, and then a bonus action to be able to attack again as long as you grappled, right? So they're able to generate their points a lot faster. This one is like you're taking 1 turn to generate a point. So yeah, that's why. So I want to just try the spellcasting if it feels way too slow for 5e combat, because on average 5e combat lasts around 3 rounds. And spending 1 or 2 rounds to be able to cast may not feel that good. So it might be a thing where we switch to pack casting, which I generally like, so that we can have more weight on the pet, or pretty much the pet mechanics, and actually give the puppet a lot more to do. So that might be a thing, while that would end up gutting stage magic, which I think is generally cool. I'm still perfectly fine with doing that if it just makes it play like smoother and faster. Yeah. I generally like one thing I really liked when I did Luchador was finding ways to generate your own resources so that your character is active. Like, they have to be doing stuff in order to do their cool things. But I think it's a lot harder to kind of really do and balance for spellcasting. So if anything, yeah, we're gonna try it this way. If not, what we'll do is we'll switch to pack casting. Weird take. What if you went with the spellcasting progression with what WotC tried with the Warlock in UA? Oh, they have casting Warlock? I'm gonna be honest, I'm upset that they're getting rid of that. The Warlock felt good. Like, you felt like a spellcaster. You didn't feel like you were limited to your 2 spell slots. and you were just gonna sit there Eldritch blasting stuff, you actually felt like you had options to cast, and then still did your Eldritch blast thing if you like to rely on, right? Like that Warlock play style wise, because I actually got to play it, felt good. I'm like, oh man, I would actually play a Warlock now, outside of like just flavor or just thematics for a campaign. Like I would actively seek out to play a Warlock class. There's still some work that they need to fix with it, but since they're rolling all that back and it's going to be more Packcaster again, if they can keep the ability to cast more spells than just 2, then I like Warlock will be interesting. Okay, so yeah, that too. That's what that offered a lot of the Warlock. The Warlock already in current 5e is the most modifiable class. When they introduced the update 1, it pretty much was a soft Pathfinder 2nd edition class, which isn't bad. But at the same time, if they're going to allow that level of modularity, they really should just do that across the board with every class. If they were really wanting to allow a lot more freedom of expression for people's characters, like the playtest Warlock did not feel like a 5e class, at least like building it, but it still played within 5e. It just didn't feel as you're building your character, because you got to choose a lot of different stuff. But I'm for being able to choose different spellcasting modifiers, or like starting spell lists based off of like what they did with the Bard. I know people weren't too hot on it, being able to choose different starting spell list, either divine, what's it called, divine or primal or arcane. But for the Bard, it was actually, I thought it was a neat feature to do that. I think there's a way to do that without just letting them choose like everything. What's going on, Chris? With a Google Doc, how do you get the red underlining? I believe, oh my god, there's a couple ways to do this. Let me see. Line and spacing, I believe, is one of them. Insert horizontal line is another way to do it. I think I did insert horizontal line, and then you could just toy with the settings for it, I believe. Highlight this. Format options right here. Hold on, where's it at? There's a way to mess with it, but I want to say, yeah, it's horizontal line. Where's that? Been a while. I just copy pasted from every other one now. Yeah, it's definitely horizontal line or paragraph styles, line and line, paragraph spacing. Another way I saw it was just people just doing like an underscore. Yeah, I have a template now. I was like, I wasn't gonna do this every time, but yeah, I believe it's just insert line and then just finding the option that lets you actually just modify it. I think that's how I originally did it. The puppet could act as a familiar and cast spells through them like a familiar focus class, but with less utility skill. Okay, let's go look at what I have so far. We'll start with enchanted puppet. So as a bonus action, you can magically summon a puppet in an unoccupied space you can see within 15 feet of you. You can determine the cosmetic characteristics of the puppet, but your choice has no effect on its game statistics. The puppet is a small magical object with the following traits. Durable handicraft, your puppet has an AC of 10 plus your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier, and it has 1 hit point. Strings attached, on your turn, you can move your puppet up to 50 feet in any direction as a bonus action. If your puppet is ever more than 50 feet from you at the end of your turn, it is destroyed. So we do want to have a limited range. At later levels, that range will expand. Obviously you're getting more powerful, and you're extending the length of your strings. Spellbound, your puppet is your spellcasting focus for your puppeteer spells, and you can cast spells as though you were in the puppet space, but you must use your own senses. So to answer your question, Renan, pretty much it is your spellcasting focus, and you can cast spells through them. But I think to allow it to scout and stuff, obviously not yet. I think that's something we can either do with a subclass or an expanded feature that you just gain later on. I could see that power up kind of being as a way to either like a feature like no strings on me or something like that. Take that from Pinocchio and have it so that the puppet can kind of function a little bit on its own autonomy, and then allow you to see through it. Yeah, and then that's it. So then the puppet lasts until it is destroyed, until you dismiss it as a bonus action, until you summon another puppet, or until you're incapacitated. So infinite puppet, but you can only have one. And just before you guys ask, hold on. Yes, okay. I have to. It's going to be one of these. Is going to be the name of the level 20th capstone. Because I already know. People I've shown have already said it has to be this. It has to be one of these. So it's going to be that. Capstone name will be. We cannot not do that. Okay. Idea of having no strings attached. Yeah, we're gonna have to. We have to play with all of those. Yeah, Master of Puppets or Puppet Master. It's got to be one of those. Master of Puppets, I can see it like you can have multiple puppets out, but I don't know to what extent. You know, it's kind of sick though. It's like you just start summoning more puppets. I'm drinking. It's already time for. They're already serving fall drinks at the Starbucks now. So if you're at Starbucks, you want to get a little white girl wasted and get a pumpkin spice latte. That it's out there. The thing is, it's 105 degrees here. Fall ain't coming anytime soon, and they're already serving pumpkin spice everything. A little early for some pumpkin spice. All right, so we got stage magic. You gain 1 puppetry point for each time you use your action to command your puppet to use a spellbinding performance. During your turn, you can expend a number of puppetry points to instantly cast a puppeteer spell requiring no material components. The number of puppetry points you need to spend to cast a puppeteer spell is equal to 1 plus the spell's level. The spell's level increases by 1 for each additional puppetry point you spend, so you can upcast it. The maximum number of puppetry points you can spend to cast a puppeteer spell in this way, including any additional puppetry points you spend to increase its level, is determined by your puppeteer level as shown in the puppetry point column of the puppeteer table, which will be right up at the top here. So again, I would just want to play with this idea of like having to do performances to pretty much having to do performances to generate your spell points and then be able to cast. I think, yeah, it's a fun idea. It's active. I think if we switch to a pack magic version of this, I think we can still play with this idea, but maybe change. Obviously, if pack magic is going to be like the spell casting equivalent of that. Maybe change what you're building up to. Maybe change it so that you're building up to an AoE effect. You can still keep this idea. It's just you're building up to an AoE and you still have packed magic. All right, so you can prepare your spells. You prepare the list of puppeteer spells that are available for you to cast, choosing for the puppeteer spell list. When you do so, choose a number of puppeteer spells equal to your charisma modifier plus your puppeteer level, which is a minimum. You need a minimum of 1 spell. The spells cannot be a spell level higher than what is shown in the spell level known column of the puppeteer table. You can change your list of prepared spells when you finish long rest. Preparing a new list of spells requires time spent practicing a routine with your puppet, at least 1 minute per spell level for each spell on your list. So Yeah, so the general idea is that you're creating a new routine with your puppet. That your spell list is your routine. So you'll be able to swatch it depending on kind of what the party needs, obviously. And then spellcasting ability is charisma. And then typical spell save DCs and spell attack mods. And then the main, pretty much the other main mechanic of the class is going to be spellbinding performance. So this is how you generate your spell points. So right now, there's going to be a total of 1, 2, 3, and 4 options. And with subclasses, hopefully offering a 1. So that you can do one that is like core to your subclass. So I'm messing with ideas for names of these. So we got tragedy, slapstick, satire, and intermission. So intermission is just going to allow you to gain 1 additional puppetry point. So anytime you use one of these features, you're going to gain 1. And then intermission would allow you to gain another 1. I'm still toying with the idea of where to put subclasses. So right now we have it at 3rd just because, 3rd level. But originally I wanted at 1st level. The problem is we have to have so many setup mechanics to really tell a player how this operates and runs that I can't put it at 1st level. So I'm kind of considering a 2nd level similar to Wizard and Druid. Maybe playing with that. So that at 3rd level, second, and then at 3rd level, we can do a little bit more customization. This is not going to be the actual name of the feature, but so yeah. So maybe this is where we can either put that the role fill mechanic idea that is in Final Fantasy, the Final Fantasy series, where the puppet can fill in a party role to some extent, or we can insert the aura mechanic here. Mm-hmm. So at 2nd level, we're going to leave it as is, so we can allow the subclass to kind of get like at least 2 features. You have another, maybe give it another spellbinding performance, and then something that it is exclusive to that subclass. Yeah. Yeah, we have to figure out what exactly is needed for this. Okay, yeah. Okay, that works. 5th level. When does Paladin get their aura? That's what I want to know. When does Paladin get their aura? Window. D&D Beyond. 7th? We might need to do it there. Might have had our aura come in a little later. Because at 5th level, we're getting a increase in our spell casting, so we can start casting 3rd level spells. And then we're gonna have an extra attack like feature. Let me already kind of put so yeah, we'll do something like that. Okay. What we can do is, I'm wondering if we can just ditch the idea of having like a core class aura and just giving at 6th level, each subclass just offers an aura. Like, for example, like at 6th level, okay, we get an aura or a shadow puppet that either makes it like easier to stealth or some example or something like that. It clouds the area in, yeah, something like that. Like either clouds the area in darkness or it makes it easier just to kind of like stealth around. Okay. Yeah, we'll do this okay. So do that. Please the crowd. This is at 5th level. We'll just do encore. Okay, before we kind of map out everything else, let's figure out spellbinding performances. So this is going to be our bread and butter feature that we need for the class. That what pretty much you're going to be doing every turn. So this is going to take the place of your attack action, really. This is like your main action. So intermission is pretty much locked in. That is the easiest one. You sit there for a turn, don't do anything, and generate a point. I think that is very, very boring. But it's kind of what it is. We're gonna just generally test it out to see how it plays. Because I think it's pretty damn boring to kind of you spend a turn not doing anything. Okay. So I think slapstick can be the attack one. so slapstick. What I want to do, I'm gonna bring up some here on my side. I'm gonna bring up some spells and some cantrips because they're kind of gonna just function like spells and cantrips in a way. Really, what they are. At that point, though, I always have to think if they essentially are gonna operate as cantrips, why don't we just, you know, just have them cast cantrip? And I want to do look at Psy Warrior. I have just pulling up a bunch of classes that have like what I consider like cantrip like features. So we have Psy Warrior, or is Battle Master, and then also of course. Not Bard. I definitely want to pull up Druid here. I had a class in mind and now it's completely blank. Alright, what was I? Oh, it was Bard, but it was gonna be Sword Bard. Speaking of Sword Bard, I started playing a Sword Bard on Baldur's Gate 3. My Monk Warlock multi-class build run already finished. I never made it to Baldur's Gate on that run. I only made it to level 7. So you definitely can, quote unquote, beat the game, or at least come to an ending before making it to Baldur's Gate. It's very, very interesting. There's a lot of like choice on how you can complete the game. I'm just happy that my Warlock, my Monk Warlock, my Shadow Monk Fiend Warlock multi-class worked out. I got to feel the power of like being able to just cast darkness and with Devil Sight and just punching the shit out of everybody, and have it actually make a combat that was heavily not in my favor at least put me on equal footing. So yeah, so definitely was fun to actually kind of experience that and feel it. But yeah, it abruptly ended. I went to go watch. When did I quote unquote beat it? It was Saturday night. I went to go watch not Saturday night, Friday night. I went to go watch Blue Beetle. Go check it out, by the way. It's actually really solid for a superhero film. Came back, loaded up Baldur's Gate. I had saved it right before kind of going to like what I thought was gonna be like the climax midway point of the game. Loaded in, saw the cutscene, made a decision, game credits rolled. I spent more time loading in and watching the credits than actually playing that whole sequence. So yeah. So now I'm back at it with a Sword Bard, but I'm kind of playing it as a little bit of a gunslinger. I have 2 hand crossbows, and you can just pop off like a ridiculous amount of like range attacks with one of the flourishes, allowing you to hit multiple people. So that's been pretty sick. Flashing flourish. Okay, so we need an attack option. Oh yeah, using specialty arrows on addition to that. Fire, electricity. Electricity has been like stupid good. But yeah, it's been dumb fun. Pretty much I already planned my next playthrough. I want to play through classes that you don't get a companion for. That's really what I've been doing. So obviously I did monk because they didn't put it in the early access. So you had to wait for the final game to come out. So I played through the monk. Paladin, you're kind of locked out of a paladin companion unless you do bad stuff. Like you have to have an evil run to get access to a paladin class, which most people are probably not going to do. And then what else do we have? I think you're supposed to be able to use Halcyon, but I didn't. Yeah, you also get Jaheira. No, you don't. You can't actually. Like you should have access to a druid, but for whatever reason on my main run, I couldn't actually put any of them in my party. So I probably messed up somewhere. And yeah, there's no bard party members either. So playing a bard or a ranger, it was probably another run I'll probably do. There isn't a ranger on the team either. All right, so we need to kind of figure out support options. Circle dreams. Shepherd. Yeah, pretty much if you want hirelings, you can just do that. Or you can just respect the characters to fit that anyway. But I try to keep them at least the same class and just respect their subclass. Gale, I automatically just respect into Divination Wizard. Shadowheart became a life cleric just to keep everybody alive. So yeah. Just sticking with that. I kind of want to do a barbarian run, just because having Karlach on my team has like been stupid fun, and even though it's so easy, it's just she rips, man. Like, just give her great weapon master at 4th level, just reckless attack and go to town. Like that's all you got to do. She's eating chunks out of people. And we're gonna see how well my sword bard does with his lack of sword. Yeah. As soon as a recruiter is like Lazael, you just get booted. You go sit in a corner and be mad. Like Karlach, Shadowheart are pretty much on my team consistently. Right now with my bard run, I'm using Will because I didn't actually get to experience any of his story because I didn't play him at all. I use him at all with my monk. So yeah, we're using Will now, and was pretty pleasantly surprised after running Descent into Avernus with my party that he is connected to one of the major characters in that campaign and in Forgotten Realms completely. So trying to avoid spoilers, but his family is a pretty big deal. Okay, what we need to do is kind of figure out what option we want for these features. They're going to be combat focused. Yeah, so couple ideas depending on the aura, but I think the damage one, I think what we need to do, where's my spells? We'll have it scale like a spell, like a cantrip. If slapstick is the one, so this is gonna be like your comic book, your not your cartoony one, eye to the face kind of stuff. Yeah, I kind of want satire to kind of be that way because like you're kind of just making fun of them. Like I kind of want satire to be vicious mockery. Oh, let's look at vicious mockery. Vicious mockery. Vicious mockery, or what is vicious mockery? Hey. Oh my god. Gotta just see how this is written. Oh, those are good suggestions too. Yeah. Yeah. We definitely slapstick. Okay. Yeah. Or forget. Choose a hostile creature within 30 feet of your puppet to make a wisdom saving throw. Okay, we gotta give it more than just being vicious mockery. I'm gonna be honest. It has to be more than just vicious mockery. The satire, like it's good. Satire is good as a vicious mockery, but I want to do a little bit more juice to it, to make it worth it. Because satire, like they're making fun of this person. All right, let's go pull up those other options. Yeah, I'm thinking some like push and pull options are gonna be pretty solid. Allowing your allies to kind of move out of the way, get away. Gonna be some good stuff. Warlock. Get Warlock and Swarmkeeper. And Soul. Battle. And why doesn't the tentacle of the deep like not not grapple or the warlock? Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up. Let's like, why doesn't it not grapple? Why doesn't it not grapple, man? Tentacles of the deep. You can magically summon a spectral tentacle that strikes your foes. As a bonus action, you can create a 10-foot long tentacle at a point you can see within 60 feet of you. The tentacle lasts for 1 minute or until you use this feature to create another tentacle. When you create the tentacle, you can make a melee spell attack against one creature within 10 feet of it. Okay, the speed is reduced. Man, I just want to grapple with it. Grab him. Yeah. I don't know. So close with that one. But extra damage in it. Extra damage that slows him down is not bad either, though. Like this. Yeah. Choose a hostile creature within 5 feet of your puppet to make a wisdom saving throw. Must succeed on or take. Okay. This we're making fun of you. 1. Choose a hostile creature within 5 feet of you to make a wisdom saving throw. Must succeed or take psychic damage. And have disadvantage on the next attack roll it makes before the end of the next turn. Where's my? I click out of that. Oh, up right now. Let me. Swarmkeeper. A piercing damage. They can move. And there's another class that I was going to look at and I completely blanked. Yep. All right. Okay. Yeah, Beast Guardian has a bunch of options too. I'm just trying to see. Preventing. Go flames, great. Dance fly. What's going on, Phil? Okay, maybe we shouldn't stick to the naming things if we can't like draw inspiration from them, right? So we got spell pioneer, like we have tragedy, slapstick, satire. It's like our main ones. Satire is like we're making fun of somebody's. Slapstick is pretty much a comedy, more of the Looney Tunes variety, and then tragedy is more of a drama. Like, how do you convey those as options? I think the best bet would be not use these at the moment. Oh, awesome, Phil. That is sick. Utter divine word. Okay. Okay. All right, let's look at. Oh, I will do some spice. Choose a hostile creature within 5 feet of your puppet to make a wisdom saving throw. It must succeed or take damage and that, yeah. Do something like that. Satire. Choose a hostile creature within 5 feet of your puppet to make a wisdom saving throw. It must succeed on a or take 1d6 psychic damage. And the next attack against the target by an attacker other than you has advantage before the start of your next turn. Since you spend your action, it must be something like cast a spell or attack. So you're gonna be able to cast spells after you generate enough points. So it can't be just like you're gonna cast a spell to generate a point. That's not how this one works. You need to do these things in order to generate points so you can cast a spell. So they just need to be a really solid action period. Ooh. Tragedy of reduced movement speed. Yeah, you're free to go ahead and make suggestions. Yeah, Phil. This one's another resource generating mechanic class. It just so happened to be that way. I blame Taryn. He showed me an astrologer class when I was trying to work on the Dark Knight Reaver class. And I tried to like use it for that, but it didn't work. And then this idea kicked in, and I was like, yeah, this fits for this instead. Just so happens to work that way. So, target hostile creature within 5 feet of your puppet has disadvantage on their next attack roll until the start of your next turn. Yeah, moment. What's going on, kid? Blame Taryn works for basically any situation. Moment, yeah. Yeah, that's what I really liked when Luchador, like, as soon as I figured out how Lucha Die generation was going to work, because originally it was called Momentum. It was like when I think I was watching some Street Fighter stuff, and I was like, how do I make that super bar mechanic work in 5e? Like, you do combos to generate a super bar, and then you pull off a super. And then as soon as I was like, oh, that clicks. Boom. I was like, okay, that's how that, and it just felt right when playing it. So it's like trying to make sure that this has a fast feel also is what we need to figure out, or at least impactful. So these performances will spend a bonus action, not a whole. No, this is a whole action. They're not bonus action. This is a whole action. This is what your class is going to be doing. Your class is going to spend their action to do this. A momentum mechanic for Monk would actually be baller and probably fit. Out of all the classes in 5e, a momentum based mechanic for the Monk, it would fit within the Monk. Rogue would be second, but they don't have enough action economy to actually pull it off, and it would be very much be like the Rogue in World of Warcraft. That's pretty much what you're building, a combo mechanic. Oh, that is a good idea, kid. There's a class in Final Fantasy 14, the Red Mage, that has a mechanic like that. It's not so much like one goes up while another one goes down. You have to generate 2 pools of magic, and you reach at a certain level, and as soon as you can do that, you can actually expend all your resources to do melee attacks. It's a playstyle for a class in like Final Fantasy 14. It's like one of my favorites. One's sick. I know that would work in something like Pathfinder because it has the action economy to support it with 3-point system. 5e, you would have to really figure out how to make it as an action and bonus action system to do it. Isn't it a bit weak for a whole action? So let's... which one's a bit weak? think I have it down. I'm gonna pull up the astrologer. I just want to see like at what level are they. There it is. How are they pulling this off? Yeah, you'd have to. That's the one thing you'd have to figure it out, and also the pace of the game is going to determine how you can, how fast you can do that. That's like my big worry right now with this sort of resource generating performance mechanic. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, it's just doing it at the at a just to make it fast. Yeah, that is such my biggest worry with this right now is like how slow is it going to be able to cast spells? Familiar can give you advantage on your next attack without spending a whole action. The familiar uses their action. They're using the help action to do that. That's their turn for it. That's why it's like not balanced. it's busted. It's not like it's pretty much part of 5e, but like it's one of those things. It becomes a lot stronger depending on how your playgroup runs familiars to begin with. One, if the DM doesn't target familiars, period, and two, if you also house rule it that familiars go on your initiative and not on their own like they're supposed to. That can mess with the whole thing. That's why it's like it's really, really strong. The help action is strong for a reason, but that's also why you don't really see it too often either. Like it's just good. But the alternative is just to kill, like hurt something. Because you also got to be mindful too, like things you can do with your action, right? Help action, grapple, shove, attack, cast a spell, or disengage, or dash. Those are all everything you can do as a base action for every character. Obviously, other classes have ways to manipulate and change all those, but pretty much that's what you're competing with is like a base action. There's also got to be mindful too. You're building up points in this situation. You're building up points, so you're gonna have these cantrip-like level abilities, so that if you have enough points as a free action, you're gonna be able to cast a full spell. Which is good. It doesn't cost you, as far as I have it. It doesn't even cost you a bonus action So we are balanced, like we got to balance a little bit for that too. We're pretty much going to have a cantrip and a spell like option, at least on one turn, to kind of Nova-esque. At least at this point. The puppet doesn't have an action because the puppet doesn't have an economy. Yeah, that's where you got to look at it. The puppet is not a pet. It is an object that sits in place that you can cast from, and that will generate an aura at a certain point. It's not a pet. That's what I think. You got to realize that I'm not trying to design a pet class. I'm trying to design an AoE, a mobile AoE class that might have pet-like functions depending on how we design for it. And the performance, those spellbinding performances are your this class's action. So you're not really casting spells off of it. You're not attacking. You're doing this, which will have multiple options in there to generate your abilities. Right now it's 15 feet, but I'm probably going to change it to 30 feet right now so that you have more room to play with. And it can't exceed over 30 feet. Right now it's 15, but I think that's too shallow. I think you need to actually have the space and the range to do stuff. Yeah, so the puppet never has its own action economy at all. Like the puppet is a instrument for you to do other stuff. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. 15 feet current, so that you have to play this sort of midliner, and then a little bit later you get a 30 foot. That's what originally I was thinking of doing. What? Oh. No. We'll toy with it. It's either gonna be 15. We gotta just see what feels right. And the level of effects that you're gonna have. Strategy to target hostile creature within 5 feet of your puppet has disadvantage on the next attack roll to turn. Choose a hostile creature within 5 feet of your puppet to make a wisdom saving throw. It must succeed or take 1d6 psychic damage on the next attack. Take psychic damage, and the next attack roll against the target by any attacker other than you has advantage before the start of your next turn. Yeah, and the help action's a full action. So I don't really understand how you're saying it's weak if it takes a full action to do the help action, which is equally strong. Yeah, it's also first level feature that will most likely get upgraded later. So, and mind you, again, you're going to be doing this in addition to being able to cast spells. The only thing is I'm worried about with like these features is making them redundant to other spells you're going to be able to cast. Like so choose a hostile creature. So what I'm thinking, let me get rid of all the names. performance 1. We'll just go this performance 1. Maybe we'll do some so I'm not sold on the names to these, to be honest. Performance 2, performance 3. All right, what we need to do, I know what we need to do. We need to do functions in here that are not found in spells. So let's look at this. What can we do and play with as a support class too? Yeah. So yeah, you're gonna be able to cast this, like you do the performance because you're journeying to the points, and then the turn you have enough points to cast a spell, you can cast the spell for free on that turn. So that's why you're kind of have to balance, like you're still wasting it, like doing an action, but casting a spell does not cost you any sort of action on your action economy. You just need to have the points to do it on that turn. That's why that's really strong. Could also add other performances later as well. Yeah, and that's the plan, is that subclasses will have their own performances. Another charisma caster? Yes, because charisma casters are sick. And unfortunately, certain character fantasies and ideas just lend themselves really well to charisma. When I get back to Reaver Dark Knight, it's not going to be a charisma caster. So just so you know, it's most likely going to be some sort of int-based class. Hopefully. I have another idea that might put it in charisma category, to be honest, that takes the Dark Knight tropes but gives it a different playstyle. But plays with a certain aspect of that lore that I'm not really sure. I'm not too sure about yet. Yeah, sometimes it has to be charisma, yeah. Because one of the Dark Knight ideas I have is called the Overlord. Instead of making it the Reaver, it's the Overlord. And the idea is that that is a summoner-based pet class. That the whole class is, you have a monster henchman with you. Because Dark Knight tropes, at least in 5e, tend to have that, but then it just becomes a cross between being a Hexblade and a Chain Warlock, Hector Chain Warlock kind of class, which I'm not sure is a solid idea. My Hedge Witch class is intelligent. Almost every other class I've made is charisma. Yeah, like I think finding it really is going to be depending how you approach it, right? For your design, there's top down and bottom up. And like if you're designing from a narrative standpoint, your narratives are going to lean towards a certain mechanics. And I think at least when it comes to either approach isn't wrong. But naturally for me, I think it's a lot easier for when designing for a story-based game, like pretty much a TTRPG, that you want to have the fantasy and have the fantasy influence your mechanics. So that's why I think it's hard to sometimes find or build classes in a way that you want to use other casting requirements, like intelligence or anything, if you can't find the fantasy for it. Getting tagged, man. Tagged and stuff. Oh, what's going on? Yeah. Oh, let's check what Mind Sliver does. Let's see what Mind Sliver does. I had it open here. Lab. Mind Sliver. like saving throw. Okay. Yeah, right. Trying to think. Okay, we're gonna go with tragedy, satire, and slapstick. So we'll go satire. We're still doing this one. Okay, slapstick, tragedy. That okay, brief overview of the Puppeteer. The Puppeteer aims to be a support magic class that uses their action to do performances centered around its puppet to generate pretty much its own spell points to eventually cast spells. That is kind of the core mechanic of the class. The puppet is a magical object, so it's not a creature. It will have a pretty much like a mobile AoE sort of mechanic attached to it, and pretty much you're generating your resources in order to cast spells. So that is pretty much the brief overview of the Puppeteer. It's taking inspiration from the astrologer class designed by Nimadimi. That has pretty much a similar spellcasting mechanic. And also it's taking inspiration from the Final Fantasy puppetry and machinist classes jobs featured in the franchise. So yeah, so my only issue right now is like we just need to see if the gameplay loop is fast enough for 5e. If it feels too slow, then we'll got to tweak it in a way to either make it faster or switch the spellcasting mechanic entirely so that it's faster. But I would still like to keep, there's still a way to do spell binding performance and do it in a way that helps generate something so you get a payoff later. So we'll see. Friendly creatures have advantage. Yeah, tragedy. We'll just do this. Target hostile creature has disadvantage on the next attack roll or saving throw it makes before the end of your next turn. I'm just putting down what the mechanic is. We'll balance it for saves. With saving throws in a bit. I'm just trying to put some ideas down. Slapstick, friendly creatures have advantage. Yeah, outside of combat, we're gonna have we need to have some other mechanics for it. But yeah, I'm assuming combat lasts 3 to 5 rounds. At minimum, like at least 3 rounds. Like that's kind of my average. Can it do Can you at least do what you want to do in 3 rounds? Yeah, what's going on? Question for generating your spells resource. What is the question? How does that work outside of combat? It doesn't. It is very much centered on combat. But you can't generate your points outside of combat as far as, it's not written in a way that you can't, I'll be honest. It's not written in a way they can't. So technically you can take an action to do a spellbinding performance outside of combat. Just depends on what the spellbinding performance is. Yeah, I mean, if anything, we'll probably do some sort of ritual casting, I think, to add some out of combat stuff for this. Pretty much you're doing like a performance off combat that will maybe help with the out of combat. But also we'll see, because if it ends up, like I said, if the point generation ability just is too slow, which I'm fearing it might actually be, then switching to a pack caster rituals sort of setup might actually be the best bet for this, so that we can put more weight on the puppet functions. For tragedy, it would be cool to have a feature that is detriment to you that generates an additional point. Well, we have one called intermission that you don't do anything except generate an extra point. For tragedy, what we kind of want to do, what do we put? It's like your character's putting on a performance. You're having your puppet put on a performance to make people sad. Slapstick, friendly creature. I want something that buffs your allies, because you're making them laugh and have a good time. And this is going to be the attack one. Damage. The performances are gotta be at least they're an action level, cantrip level ability. I'm wondering, okay, so here's... Damn. Part of me already wants to just gut the spell generating performance, but I want to try it. It's like, okay, we could just have it cast cantrips, and then these special performances can just be like an AoE thing that they do. Because maybe we don't need to have like an aura, right? Like an aura where you just stand around and you get the benefit, like it's an active aura that we have to do. Oh no. Oh, we'll play with that idea later. Hold on. I want to check something. Path of totem warrior. Slapstick, I'm kind of like going with the idea that you're making everybody laugh and like bringing the spirits up. So, friendly creatures have within 5 feet of the puppet have not too sold on that right now. You know what I need to look at? Okay. So in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, the Bard kind of has this sort of AoE sort of thing going on with it. Let me pull that up. So they have different cantrips that they're able to do depending on the spec, the subclass you kind of go into. Wouldn't be a bad idea to kind of see, and they're pretty much AoE. Hold on. Composition, spells, music. Here we go. Where is it at? See, okay. Part of me is just like, man, it would just be easier to just do a certain thing. Like allow them to cast cantrips. Um, actually, you know what? Fuck it. All right. So what we're gonna do, we'll have each one be a cantrip, but we're gonna add like a little extra spice to it to make it different. There's mockery, but better. Slapstick. I think this would probably just be the best way to do it. Like, just attach a cantrip to this, to each one, because that's pretty much what we're doing, and then we can figure out how to make them better. So, I think this is probably the best route to go. Like, we're kind of just wanting to have them cast cantrips in the first place. Satire, vicious mockery, but better. Slapstick, resistance. Okay, tragedy. We need to do something to the like another debuff to the enemy. Add memories in the past. Oh man, I'm trying to sneeze, but not sneeze. There it is. Ooh. Another performance you can gain later. It could be like horror. Yeah, we might do genres. I think other performances are going to be added by subclasses. Vicious Mockery, but better. Resistance and True Strike, I think. Okay, Tragedy. Thinking something like either okay, hold on. Let's write out. I know what I'm gonna do for Vicious Mockery. Or Satire at least. Satire, or dang. Extra string ends. Okay, well shit. That goes okay. So for Tragedy, the main thing is like you're having your puppet do a sad, like a performance that makes everybody, like makes the enemy sad, right? That's kind of the general idea, like they make the enemy sad. Laugh. Spell attack against target hostile creature deals 1d6. .1d6 psychic damage plus effect. This one you want to make fun of enemy and you're pissing them off, so we need to your thing's gonna be the focus. Let's look at slow.
Mhm.
Some ideas for this one is allowing your ally to move. Giving them temp HP. Can't separate itch, but you go. Something like that. They get make fun of an enemy spell attack against target hostile creature. I don't know if I want the goad on it though, because the goad would mean like they need to target the puppet or target you. Hey, what's going on, Wally? I am working in Google Docs, my friend. I'm working in Google Docs. Yeah, I want the goat effect, but yeah, Magic the Gathering goat effect is so good. I throw that in pretty much almost every commander deck I have is a red deck. Has red in it, and throwing goat in there is just so good. Thank you, sir. Pretty much have a template just set up for all this. All right, one thing I want to... Okay, I know... Okay. What I want to see, I'm going to pull this up on the side, is... We're looking at tragedy, right? How do we convey tragedy? I just want to see how Critical Role does the tragedy bard. I know theirs mainly deals with really swingy rolls like -1s and shit. So what we're trying to call is, want to see. Hold on. Call it a maestro. Okay. Yeah, goat is sick. Goat is pretty much compelled duel. Okay, so spell attack. Yeah, satire week. You're making fun of the enemy. You're having your puppet dance and just like troll them. You make a spell attack against a target hostile creature. It'll deal a d6 psychic damage, and the creature has disadvantage on attacks made against you. Made against anyone else but you or your puppet. Even if they hit the puppet, it's not gonna matter. You just resummon it as a bonus action, and you can place it somewhere else. You can do that. So it's not really gonna matter. Pretty much, this is a way to save an ally from getting hit. Slapstick is gonna be you make your ally laugh. Target ally has advantage against being frightened and charmed until the start of your next turn. Until the start of your next turn. They also gain temporary hit points equal to your charisma modifier plus half your puppeteer level, minimum of 1. So at level 1, they're getting anywhere from like 3 to 4 temp HP. Got something like that. Tragedy, I want this to be some sort of like effect against enemies. Hubris. Poetry and misery. When you join the College of Tragedy at 3rd level, you learn to harness the beauty and failure, finding inspiration in even the direst twist of fate. When you or an ally within 30 feet of you rolls a 1 on the d20 for an attack roll, an ability check, or saving throw, you can use your reaction to use bardic inspiration. Sure. They don't really do anything. College or art college? What the heck? Like, I wish there was like, let me see, 5e, 5e status condition. I wish there was like a sad condition. It's a literal summon because it's magical. You're gonna bring it back. So you can put it back in the same place, or you can just cast it and put it in another spot. At this point, yeah, that's what we're playing with right now. So what are you wanting for tragedy? I want a sad condition. I want them just like the enemies just like sad. Make them fall prone. That's messed up. They're so sad they just go prone. Fetal position. Crying fetal position. So sad that they can't use the reaction. Just shutting off the reactions good, so that'll prevent them from attacks of opportunity. Allows allies to escape if they need to. I might have to. Oh no, this is for the core class. It's not even a subclass. Just a class condition. Can use it. This one, we got this one, we got this one. Make them choose one action in their next turn movement or attack bonus action. Let's see. Part of me just wants to make this like you deal damage and they can't use the reaction because they're so damn sad. Or these can't use the reaction or have disadvantage. That's really strong. Let me see. Yeah, see, so I'm looking at this. Renan, that ability is like around a level 2 spell. I'm looking at Tasha's Mind Whip. You're dealing damage, you remove the reaction, and they can only choose their action, bonus action, or movement. Like they get all three of those at second level. Maybe. And we know removing the reaction is safe to do at cantrip level because of Shocking Grasp. Ooh, that's poison. Yeah, let's look at poison. What does poison get rid of? Disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. So we'll do no damage. Yeah, I don't know what this. Target a hostile creature within 10 feet of the puppet must succeed on a wisdom saving throw. Or oh, dang it, no, you can't have disadvantage on the next save on their saving throws because you can just loop this into it. Yeah, it's shocking grass basically. This one's on a save. Shocking grass is attack to hit. Target hostile creature within 10 feet of the puppet must succeed on a wisdom saving throw. Or take 1d6 damage and can't use your reaction until the start of your next turn. Ooh, that's actually good too. Might do the healing one for something else. Okay. Could prevent healing like chill touch. You can't heal from the emotional damage. Another idea is to have they must make a wisdom saving throw, and if they fail, they can't use the reaction and their movement speed drops to 0. That's another idea. And make it an AoE, like hostile creatures within 5 feet. 5 to 10 feet of the puppet, most likely 5 feet from the puppet, have to make this saving throw. And then if they fail, they can't move and they can't use a reaction. But at that point, I think the damage is fine. The idea is to have like these. Originally, were supposed to be like AoE effects. If they're going to be AoE effects, no, okay. We have these. I'll run these by. All right, we're gonna wrap it up right now. I went over like another 30 minutes. I got some chores I gotta get done. But make a ranged spell attack against a puppet. The puppet. A hit. Yeah. So yeah, we'll do that. Okay, that's satire. I'm comfortable with satire. Like that one just fits. Slapstick, I think is fine. And then tragedy, I think that's the one we kind of need to work on a little bit more to really figure out. That's another damage option. Yeah, we'll think. All right, I need to get some chores done. I went over like 30 minutes when I wanted to end, but it's fine. I'll be back Wednesday, I think, and we'll work more on this some more Wednesday night, and I'll be back definitely on next Sunday. We'll be working more Puppeteer. Hopefully by next week we can get at least third level up to 3rd level done. If we can move up to 5th level, then we can maybe like work on a couple of subclass features for at least 1 or 2 subclasses, just so that we can kind of get this to test, and then we can do test how it actually plays in combat and stuff. And if that's the case, then if not, then we can switch to a pack casting thing. So yeah, again, thank you guys again for jumping in and hanging out this Sunday. I need to go be an adult now and get stuff done. Thanks, Wally. Thank you, Gilda, Nico, Renan. Let's see, Phil. No, Tara was in here. Just the Craft, Fallen, Phoenix, Ked. Where's everybody at? Chris the DM. Frost Azul. And 343. Thank you guys again for coming in and hanging out. If you guys want to do more, see more, everybody's welcome to the Dungeonaires Barrack Discord. There's a link to the Discord in the description. Also, make sure to go check out Skyzephyrs. Kickstarter is currently going. There's a link for the description if you're needing aerial combat roles. If you're going to be playing like an Eberron or Spelljammer, Skyzephyrs is pretty much what you're going to be looking for. A very easy to grasp and utilized aerial combat system that will not bog down your game. So definitely go check them out. There's a link in the description. If you guys go there and back it, I get a little kickback. So you're supporting everybody. Everybody wins. So definitely go check them out. It's already funded, so it is guaranteed to be coming to you. So yeah, we'll be seeing you guys next Wednesday, and then next Sunday we'll be doing more Puppeteer. And yeah, also look out for September. Luchador is going to go on sale. So expect that. If you haven't picked that class up, it'll be going on sale in September in celebration of Mexican Independence Day. So, yep. Watch out for that. It's coming. It's coming. All right. You guys have a good one. You guys take care. Have a happy rest of your Sunday. And I'll see you guys next week.